oh my god, Asians, go help your sister out. There's this Asian content creator that came on here and said that she doesn't like to see white people at Asian supermarkets, and now there are comments eating her up. A large Asian content creator reprimanded her, and now all the white people in her comments just eating her alive. I'm trying to help her, but I need more help.
I really am a nice person, but I can't stop myself from giving snark to the white people at Asian.
I don't know why people are so up in a roar about this video. I thought it was funny. As someone that grew up in Harlem, New York, I know exactly what she's talking about.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. So in today's episode, you're going to be talking about an Asian woman who has found herself in trouble with white folks because of the words she was saying and how she chose to express herself. But it's not just the white folks who are angry with her. Apparently, even a few people from her own community, the Asian American community, were calling her out. But let me just say this incident has left the internet divided.
Right, because the black population does understand where she was coming from when she made the statements that she did, right? And a few Asians also understand what she meant when she did, when she made those statements, right? And I do feel like it's also important to note that this Asian woman in question is half white and half Asian.
Right. So guys, what are we talking about? Let's watch what we prepared for you and then we come back and talk about it. You can also let us know, what do you think about the sentiments or statements that this half white, half Asian woman made? Do you think anything she said was wrong, or do you think she's in any way, shape or form racist? Let us know in the comment section. Also, consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Let's watch and then we come back.
I really am a nice person, but I can't stop myself from giving snark to the white people at Asian.
I don't know why people are so up in a roar about this video. I thought it was funny. As someone that grew up in Harlem, New York, I know exactly what she's talking about. So I vividly remember as a child, I used to live by the 1 train. I vividly remember as a child that white people never got off the train after 116th Street. That was Columbia University. 125th, 135th, you know, going up into Inwood, Washington Heights, that was Black and brown people. And that was just something I observed about my neighborhood as a kid. I also observed that on 125th Street, the street that I grew up near, there were never any white people. I remember asking my mom, like, why aren't there white people in Harlem? And she would tell me, like, oh no, on Sundays they like to come up and like tour the neighborhood because everybody's like at church. And sure enough, I remember going there a couple of Sundays after church and you would see like white people on tours taking pictures and stuff. That was the only time they were in the neighborhood. When I started growing up, going to school in predominantly white areas and inviting my friends to come back to my home, like to hang out with me, they would tell me flat out, oh, my parents don't want me going up there. They say it's not safe. And I would literally be like, but I live there. Well, I already like had the idea in my head that white people don't go to Harlem. You don't see white people in Harlem like that. And they think that it's dangerous. They think it's unsafe. So they're not going to come here. Imagine my fucking surprise when I start seeing white people in Harlem. Or the first time that I see a white person stay on the train past 125th Street. Yeah, I started noticing that. And it was the same type of, what are you doing here? It was also a little bit of a, oh, y'all fuck with us now? Like, when did that change? And that's why I found that video to be so funny. I don't understand how it turned into this uproar of, oh, she wants segregation. No, if you listen to the whole video, it's basically a confession. And she knows that she's like wrong to have that mentality. She knows that's something that it's with her that she needs to address. She even says at the end of the video, like, keep supporting like local Asian grocery stores, keep supporting small local businesses, you know, like it's fine, it's cool. But like, it's a funny reflection. I don't understand how it turned into this whole thing of like white people need saving right now. I think white people are okay. I think they'll be okay after the video. I don't know.
I really am a nice person, but I can't stop myself from giving snark to the white people at Asian grocery stores. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I can't stop doing it. Like, I just side eye every time I see you there. What are you doing here? And like, arguably I could be in the right if they're like, you know, taking up space loudly in the way, but I do it even when they're not. I do it when I just see you down the aisleway picking out like your pre-made sushi. I'm over there like, and I know I'm wrong for it because like, especially if it's a small mom and pop grocery store, which I just got back from, like, go support them. Go support them. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just a bitch. I'm a really nice girl, but I'm also a bitch. And I saw this one girl who was in the grocery store. She was like down the way with like blonde hair and she's like looking at the packets or whatever. I give her this side eye. I'm looking at her. I see her giving me side eye back. She's like at me. I was like, and I know I don't look super Asian, but I'm like, I'm literally supposed to be here. I'm buying the foods that I grew up eating right now. And then she came closer and closer, and I saw this moment as we're both side-eyeing each other where we both got closer and closer and closer, meeting in the middle of the aisle, and we both realized that the other person is Asian. We both realized that we're Asian. We both were like, and then we smiled and we walked away. It was almost Asian on Asian crime, but I think she was doing the same thing I was doing, giving me the little like, what are you doing here? Which is valid, but also white people keep going to Asian grocery stores, keep supporting small businesses. But I do hate it when white people come in there and they're like, oh my God, I've seen this on TikTok, and their kids are running around amok, like making a disaster for people that are just like buying their regular weekly groceries. I do hate that, but like, most of this is on me, and I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. Person, but I can't stop myself from giving snark to the white people at Asian grocery stores.
As someone who's also Asian, I would like to share my point of view on this because I 100% agree with Madeline. I fully agree with her. When I'm in an Asian grocery store and I see a white person, even though I am Asian, I still very much look like I fit into an Asian grocery store, and I understand that. When I walk in and I see a white person, I don't know if they're a white person or a person who happens to be white. And until they do something that makes me see that, oh, this is a person who is safe and respectful towards my culture, I'm going to side-eye them, because the amount of people that go into Asian grocery stores or ethnic grocery stores just to make fun of the grocery store is way higher than y'all think it is. Stop white knighting for white people. Stop it. Stop it.
Giving snark to the white people at Asian grocery stores. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just woke up, but I feel like we need to talk about this because I feel so many different ways, and yeah, let's just get it out in the open. Do I think Madeline's execution of her rant on TikTok was a little cringe? It was a very hard video to watch and kind of get through. Do I think where it stems from and just kind of some of her points was wrong? No, I don't. And here's why. I think many of us can say, like 20 years ago, even less, can say that when you brought Asian food to school, you got the side eye, whether it was from a student or even a teacher. And you would hear the snide comments or the bad comments of, ew, or what is that, or why does it smell like that? And I've seen creators on here, or even had friends tell me that bringing food, like bringing their own culture's food to school, was so stressful because there was this like internal debate whether you would open it in the cafeteria or just not eat it. And it just gives you this sense of guilt because your parents, your mom, your dad worked really hard to pack this food for you and you're ashamed of it. Or yeah, you just pack it away and bring it home full, and if your parents ask you why you didn't, you can just say you're hungry, but you actually got a hot foods lunch, like an American hot foods lunch in school instead, just to fit in. All those things over time can traumatize you a little bit as an adult. So it is very interesting to see, fast forward, where, you know, Asian culture, Asian foods are now this cool thing.
Asians don't care. Go shop at that Asian grocery store. Go support. And if you fully listen to that Asian girl's video, you'll realize that she wants you to support Asian businesses. That was just her experience. And it's okay to have that experience. We just don't like being disrespected and side-eyed for our food. And then suddenly you hop on the bandwagon of, oh, I like Asian food. Maybe I should walk up in there and try making this ourselves. It's just, some people find that hypocritical, but Asians also need to give some of these folks grace, because some of these people aren't that exact person who disrespected you from the start. Some people are genuinely interested in Asian culture and they've never disrespected an Asian. Does that make sense? I feel like if you're going to be tormenting anybody, torment the people who are racist and prejudiced daily and who refuse to be educated. Torment them, all right? And to be fair, some Asians side-eyed me because they don't even know I'm Asian.
H Mart Gate is genuinely distressing. My other Asian friend this morning said that she was starting to see Asian people backtracking and saying that they weren't just trying to make white people feel comfortable. Because oops, your desire to make sure Asian people know how you feel made you accidentally align with whiteness. And that creator, Madeline, nobody watched her original video. Nobody watched past 3.5 seconds at least. She never even mentioned H Mart. She's not even Korean. Every culture in this country gatekeeps. Every culture makes jokes about it. Nameplate necklaces are considered cultural appropriation. I I retired mine. And I'm sorry, but food is not the unifier that you're making it out to be. A few years ago, I was at a Black Lives Matter rally and there was a Chinese restaurant in the lot that the rally was going on in. So a lot of the people were ordering takeout to eat on the lawn. And you can't imagine the amount of loud racism that was going on in that lot while people were holding their BML pickets, yelling at the workers, complaining about their food, yelling about making sure there's no MSG. Also, a Chinese takeout place, which is just an Asian establishment catered towards white people. It's Asian food for white palates. The amount of times I've gone into an Asian restaurant and there are no Asian people working in there. There's no Asian people in the kitchen. And then there's an article about the chef who's like a white guy that went to Vietnam for 2 years. And the food is not good. I get that white people can't handle discomfort. I get that they feel that they are morally pure and that they are entitled to everything. I lost 2 of my lifelong best friends to this. But people just dogpiling on a Asian girl just because she's Asian or using this conversation to villainize Asian people is driving me up a wall.
So I wasn't going to make a video on this subject because I had seen a few Asian creators already made a video addressing it, and I just don't know if I should really interject as a black person since this does have to do with Asian culture. But the H-Mart Asian girl who was saying that she kind of side-eyes white people, like, when she sees them in the Asian grocer, I was like, originally in the video, like, I literally saw her, I'm like, I get your point, sis. Like, she was literally being so jokey and silly and lighthearted about it. And then the comments were literally calling her racist and saying that she has insecurities with her whiteness since she's half white. What really gets me is, like, they weaponized her whiteness against her while also saying that she was being racist. So how are you guys going to be racist to her pretty much by saying that, oh, she can't talk about this because she's white herself, so why are you saying this? But then also say that she's being racist for excluding white people and for saying that she side-eyes white people in the Asian grocery. Mind you, in her original video, she does not say anything about, like, that white people should never shop in Asian grocery stores. Although that would be a valid point. I'm not gonna lie, that would be a valid point. But she doesn't say anything about that. She literally says in the video that white people and, like, everyone should shop at Asian grocery stores, like, keep the people in business and whatnot. And, like, that's literally what she said, but you guys took it the wrong way anyway. And I'm starting to realize that you guys, as white people and white-centered people, because it's not even just white people who are going against her. Like, if it was just white people going against her, I'd be like, okay, I kind of expect that because white people are so blinded by their own privilege and their own white supremacy that they cannot be criticized in any way. But it was other Asian people were criticizing her, guys. Other Asian people were getting on her and calling her racist and exclusionary. Even people of other races are getting on her in these comment sections too. And I'm just like, why is everybody attacking her? But anyway, I feel like you guys can't handle the littlest criticism of white people.
So I've been seeing the discourse about that one Asian girl who says she side-eyes white people in the Asian market, which I think the reaction's kind of blown out of proportion. But lest we not forget, one of the great joys of going to the Asian market is to have someone's granny be rude to you. Especially the Korean grannies, like, please roll your eyes at me when my basic ass reaches for the fish cakes. Please trample me with your shopping cart. Please refuse to make space for me in the aisle. Please hover over me and eye roll when I'm taking too long to decipher an ingredients list on a product you want to grab. Lest we not forget that being bullied by an Asian granny is a privilege and builds character.
Alright, I'm gonna clarify this video for the last time. I don't think there's anything wrong with Asian people feeling protective of Asian spaces. In fact, I totally support that. I also don't give a singular fuck about a white person's feeling in an H-Mart. If they feel uncomfortable, whoop the fucking do. What I found funny about the original video was the premise that this extremely white presenting Asian girl was walking around H-Mart glaring down white people. The whole energy of this video was like, hello fellow Asian people, don't you love to give snark to white people when we're at the Asian grocery store? Let's table the economic implications aside. Is it annoying when white people take up space and occupy places that are designed and catered to people of color? Yeah, no fucking shit. Before this Asian girl, like, these white people that you are glaring down, that's at least one of your parents, right? At least your mom or your dad, one of them. And if the other Asian people in that H-Mart adopted that same attitude, they would probably giving you the same fucking look. I understand most people haven't seen my old videos, but like the concept of me defending white people is so comically fucking, like, it's a departure from where I stand that I'm realizing the joke went over everyone's head. This video was not about defending white people. It's just that optically, it's fucking hilarious seeing someone who kind of looks white glaring down other white people at a fucking H-Mart. That's just funny to me as an Asian person. But as soon as you get mixed identities involved, like the point gets completely fucking obfuscated. So the joke it didn't land. I have to own up to that because obviously people didn't get what the fuck I was trying to say. But now I got a bunch of non-Asian people trying to lecture me in the comments that, like, I need to stand up for the Asian community. Please shut the fuck up.
I feel like the internet just goes with the herd and the comments so much that you guys are just not used to somebody truly being authentic and raw and expressing themselves. Let's address the white people that are in my comments. Asian people and basically every kind of people that are not white. We have experienced the looks, the stares, the where are you really from, comments about our food, our faces, our accents even, and we felt out of place everywhere. When we are talking about an Asian grocery store and we say, hey, this is one of our spaces, and you as a white person come in and say, no, that's wrong. That's the wrong way to do things. We can't be this way. That's you again telling us how we should act and how we should feel and how we should behave, even in our own space. We're not attacking you. We're not banning anybody. We're just talking about a feeling that we have. And mind you, this is a protective reaction. It comes because we've lived a different life than you. We've had different experiences than you've had. So when white people just jump in and they're like, oh, let's just all be nice to each other, what it really sounds like is you saying, oh, stop saying things that make us uncomfortable. No, we are allowed to talk about our experiences and not be lectured on kindness like we're the problem. Just because you feel a little bit of discomfort, that doesn't make it oppression or racism. It's just the first time that you're experiencing a conversation happening that isn't centered around you.
So the Asian woman, Madeline, who said she side-eye white people when she goes into the Asian grocery store, that's the same way I feel when I seen white people jogging through neighborhoods they wouldn't even drive through, okay, in my own back home. They wouldn't even drive through the city. They was told the city of Rochester is bad, it's disgusting, it's unsafe, you'll be harmed. And guess my luck when I see these bitches running on Goodman and shit. What are you doing? Not even just that, but so many other streets. And what I want people to understand is when she says she side-eye white people who are in Asian grocery, this is what I thought about. I thought about immediately how you start seeing more white people in more ethnic spaces, and the next thing you know, it becomes a white space, it becomes a gentrified space, it becomes a space that is suddenly, that once was friendly to this minority population, it is now suddenly unfriendly. And I think, at least for me, if I'm in a place that is mostly ethnic or mostly minority, I do question why white people are there, because at the end of the day, y'all can make the space unsafe. And that's just the truth. Y'all can make the space unsafe. Y'all presence can make us feel unsafe in our own spaces because y'all are likely to call the police or to make a big deal out of something or be rude because you do not understand the cultural customs in this space that you are a guest in. So like when she said that, I'm like, nah, I get you. Because it's like, what are you doing here? Because when white people start going into spaces that they demonized and condemned, gentrification is on the way. And y'all not gonna act like y'all didn't condemn or make fun of Asian people and their food and their lifestyle and the way they dress and the way they talk. Y'all not gonna act like y'all don't do that. So for her to sit there and be like side-eyeing white people, yeah, because what the fuck are you doing coming in here trying to eat my cultural foods that you was making fun of me for all my life going to school? Like, y'all make minority spaces, inherently minority spaces, y'all make them unsafe with y'all presence. It's just the truth.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the videos we just played you. Personally, I do feel like I understand. If you're thinking from a rational point of view, I do understand what the lady was trying to express, because at the end of the day, she is half white, half Asian, yeah? But that doesn't even matter. What I want to say is that there's a lot of stereotypes about the Asian community. Does it mean that it's true? Not all of them. Does it mean that it's good, or does it mean that it's correct? Not really, you know.
Right. And one thing I feel like most speakers resonated with her was when it comes to cultural foods, right? And her sentiments stem from the fact that when they are young, when they go to school with their cultural foods, a lot of white people usually look at them with a bombastic side eye and they ask what is that when they want to eat their own cultural foods. So this woman seeing white people in their stores is quite the contrary to what she grew up believing or what they made her believe when she brought her food to school.
Right. And you know, guys, the funny thing about childhood trauma is that the things that you go through as a child really live with you, and somehow it gets to shape who you become when you grow up. So imagine growing up in an environment where everything about your culture was being demonized by somebody who looked a certain type of way, and then you grow up, you find that these people are really relishing in that culture and they are kind of loving on it, you know. So you ask yourself which is which, because at the end end of the day, I do understand what she says. She's not even stopping anybody from indulging in whatever they want to indulge in. Yeah, the only thing she asks people is that please respect other people's culture.
Right. And a lot of white people were in the comment section complaining about the words that she said, right? And my question was, what about when black people walk into white spaces and they are looked upon with the eyes of what are you doing here, or with the eyes of you don't belong here, right? Right now, the tables have changed, and these same white people are the ones who are being looked at like that when they enter Asian spaces, right? And most of them are crying racism, right?
And guys, I feel like that is a very good question, because a lot of the times, even up to now, it's not something that happened a long time ago. It's still happening even now, when somebody from the black community enters an Asian store and they're looked at like, what are you doing here, you know? And also another thing I noted is that there's some words that are unspoken, but quite clearly that these things do happen, you know?
And it affects all communities,
right?
When
and
they're not white.
Exactly. And black Americans have always been vocal. When this lady was speaking,
They
felt
knew
like
exactly what she meant.
Exactly. And I felt like black Americans have been through a lot for them to be able to know and feel what this lady was saying, yeah? But, because black Americans are normally the only ones who are quite vocal about these things, what they like, what they don't like, when they are calling out wrong or right, you know. A lot of the times, people say that black Americans are racist, you know, they're being racist towards white people because they vocalize how they feel. And if it's wrong, they call it out. If it's right, they call it out, you know. And so we're seeing an Asian woman who is doing the same, and now she's being called racist. The funny thing is that even her own
white
people
herself.
Exactly. Even her own people are calling her out. And she was just speaking about how she felt seeing white people in Asian stores. You know, I feel like that is something you can be able to get if you have, without being offended, you know.
Right. And when this story was first going viral, the crop of Asians who are calling this Asian woman racist started walking back on their words and retracting their sentiments once other groups of Asians came to them and told them that they were trying to appease white people and they were trying to suck up to white people, and they also accused them of seeking white approval instead of listening to what their fellow Asian woman was trying to pass across.
Right. And the reason why I said unspoken words is because this just goes to show that it's not black Americans alone. There are other groups of people who feel the same way. Collectively, they all do feel the same way, but it's only been left to the black American community to communicate,
to vocalize their feelings.
Exactly. Now it's looking really weird when our white Asian person is saying it, because they're not used to hearing it from
their own,
you know. And I'm saying, you know, there's nothing wrong with white people indulging in other people's culture. The only thing they're asking you is please respect other people's culture and teach your children to do the same, because the only way colonization happened is because white people made other communities feel ashamed,
inferior and ashamed of practicing their culture. Exactly. Them uncivilized for practicing certain things, you know.
Exactly. And one good example I can give is in Africa, people used to walk barefoot until white people termed it as poverty, you know. And so what happened? Africans started wearing slippers, shoes, and whatnot. And now we see in a world we call modern, white people are going back to walking barefoot, calling it that they're earthing, right? So for them, it's
actually a very famous YouTuber who does the earthing thing, saying how she's connecting to nature and all. And also when you cross over to Australia, a lot of them are walking barefoot because of how hot it is, right? And one thing I came to realize from the videos of the woman from America who was walking barefoot and calling it earthing was, she actually proved how wearing shoes has actually modified humans' legs, and not in a good way. And actually, when she compared her foot versus the foot of the interviewer who was interviewing her, both their feet were very different, and hers were quite strong because of earthing.
Right. But when a black person does it, bad. When a white person does it, they repackage it into a fancy word.
A health, whatever that can be packaged and sold to the masses.
Right. Another thing in Africa that I can think of, madhouse. You know, in Africa, madhouse was a sign of poverty according to the white man. But still is. Right now in Italy, those are the new inventions and technology.
And technology that I don't know how many of you guys have seen that. There's this Italian who is building madhouses, like the ones that are found here in Africa even to date, and they're calling it new innovation, where housing projects are gonna be going the next couple of years, you know.
Right.
And then also another thing they made Africans be very ashamed of doing was using traditional herbal medicine, you know, just because, well, allegedly, most of them came and saw how Africans were treating certain illnesses, and then they made chemical drugs out of it and banished the herbal drugs so that Africans could buy the chemical drugs from them.
Right. So it's just the same thing, guys. Would you blame an African who would look at a white person earthing,
sideways,
you know,
a white person who's earthing, or a white person who's building mad houses in Italy and calling them modern inventions, whereas in Africa that is the very same exact thing that has existed since time immemorial. I would also give you a side eye. Bombastic. It doesn't mean I'm refusing you to do that same thing, but I'm just giving you
respect
a side
the culture, you know, acknowledge where it's coming from.
Right. And this woman was going viral because most people had misunderstood her video, especially white people and some Asian people from her community, and calling her out for being a racist, right? And for the people who really truly listened to her video very well, they were saying that this woman never discouraged anybody from going to the Asian stores. As a matter of fact, she was championing for those same people, the white people, to go and support small Asian businesses. However, it doesn't stop her from giving them a side eye whenever she meets with them, but she wasn't discouraging them from going.
Right, guys, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. We'd very much like to hear from you. We want to thank you so much for joining us, and also remember to subscribe if you haven't yet before you leave.
Right, see you on our next episode.